By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to take your first step in the world of open source. Imagine this, you a coding newbie contributing to some of the biggest projects in the world and walking away with some awesome free swag. Sounds unreal, right? But it is not. It is Hacktoberfest, and trust me, you do not have to be an expert to join it. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to take your first step in the world of open source. But here is the catch. You have got to make your move before the end of October. Are you ready to find out how? Let's dive in. Okay, before we get into Hacktoberfest, let's talk about what is open source. You know those apps and tools that you use regularly like Google Chrome, Firefox, or even Android. They are built using open source code. It's basically code that is open to public so anyone can see the code, contribute to the code, and improve it. Now I know what you are thinking. Rahat, I'm barely able to understand my coding assignments. How would I be able to contribute to something really big? Well, here is the good news. You do not need to be an expert. Even if you are just starting out, there is a room for you. And that is where Hacktoberfest comes in. Hacktoberfest is this amazing event held every October where you can contribute to these open source projects and get cool rewards like t-shirts, stickers, and the ultimate reward, that is experience. Now, let me tell you a secret. Hacktoberfest is not just for seasoned developers or seasoned coders. In fact, it is perfect for a newbie or a beginner. That is right. When I first started out, I thought open source was only for super genius developers or super genius coders. But here's the truth. Open source has all kinds of tasks of all skill levels. Let's say you are not ready to write a full feature or a full project yet. No worries. You can contribute by fixing small bugs, improving documentation, or adding comments to the code. And these contributions still counts. And when I am saying contributing to documentation, I'm not saying that just adding spaces in readme and all. To change anything in documentation as well, you have to be experienced with the coding. When I am saying that you can be a beginner to open source, I do not mean that you should be a beginner for coding as well. Beginner to open source is different from beginner to coding. You should have some basic fundamentals of programming, coding, then only you will be able to participate or contribute in open source. Even small changes like a fixing typo or adding a missing comment or comma to documentation are appreciated. But what I think, you should raise an issue before any pull request, because when you raise the issue, the maintainer will see whether the issue is valid or not. You will not have a bad impression on you directly adding any pull request, because there is another bonus point for that as well. If the issue is not valid, but still the maintainer will feel like that you are giving attention, you're giving focus to the project, and you want to learn with the project. That is a good impression. And if the issue is valid, then also it is a bonus point. Because when you raise an issue, it is also a contribution to the project. It is not just raising pull request or documentation change. When you raise issues, it is also a contribution to the project. It's like a team effort where everyone, no matter their skills level, help build something right, something great. So how do you actually get started with Hacktoberfest? Well, here is a step-by-step guide for all my fellow beginners out there. Get ready, because this is where the fun begins. So now let's see how we can start with Hacktoberfest. So for that, firstly, we need to register for Hacktoberfest, right? So to register for Hacktoberfest, just search Hacktoberfest on Google Chrome and head to this. And we have this Hacktoberfest website. Click on that. It is very elegant interface that you can see right now. That feels like very gamified version of a website. As you can see, green color, and we have a Hacktoberfest logo here, and we have different toolbars like participation, events, donate, about, join Discord. So you can join Discord community of Hacktoberfest with this as well. And I would highly recommend you to join Discord community, because there you will be able to find a lot of people from whom you can learn and you can connect them. And if I talk about, most of the people ask me how we can make our teams for hackathons, how we can connect with other peoples as well. So community is one of the thing that from where you can got partners for hackathons. So yep, you can join Discord communities, the about section that says about Hacktoberfest, all of those information. Hacktoberfest is a DigitalOcean's annual event. So yeah, DigitalOcean is a famous company that conduct Hacktoberfest regularly, like each year, and you can see Hacktoberfest brand videos from over the years. So we are the participation page. As you can see, everyone is welcome. As I said in the previous part of the video as well, that it is for everyone, no matter you're a seasoned developer, you're a beginner. So participation in hackathons come from all over the world and represent thousands of unique skill sets. We welcome anyone who is interested in diving in and everyone who is already part of the open source software community. This is a code that quantity is fun, but quality is the key, right? So we used to hear about that quality matters over quantity, and here is also it is just written in a very different manner that quantity is fun. If you are raising pull requests, you are contributing to the projects in a more way, like you are contributing 5 6 PRs. But that feels good to heart that you have raised 4 pull requests and all. But quality is another thing that you are raising 1 pull request. That pull request is very necessary for the project and it is very important. It is in high priority. So that participating in Hacktoberfest leads to personal growth, professional opportunities, and community building. That is one of the important part. But it all begins with meaningful contribution because nowadays what is going on, a lot of people are just contributing or just adding any comma or any space. They're removing the comma, then they're adding the comma in the README file, and that is very sort of controversial statements are going on right there. Short-term actions, long-term impact. So in the open source community, we stand on the shoulders of project maintainers and those who came before us. Your participation has a lasting effect on people and technology long after October. Your participation helped build the future of the internet. So basically, since it is open source and you're contributing to something that will be used by millions or billions of people right there. For example, VLC. VLC is an open source, right? Open source project. So if you're adding any feature in that, that feature will be used by a lot of people. So that is where it is said that short-term action and long-term impact. You have to register anytime between September 23 and October 31. So I think we cannot register right now because it's September 21. So you will be able to register by September 23. There will be a button of register. You can go there. Basically, you can follow the process and it is very simple. It is not a rocket science. You can follow the process and you have to fill the details. Then you will be able to register. As it is mentioned, register anytime between the September 23 and October 31. And September is also refers as Preptember in Hacktoberfest manner. So October is Hacktober, that is where you are hacking, that is where you are contributing to open source projects. So for the newbies who are just starting with open source, so they will be, I think in the September you can learn how to raise pull requests, what is GitHub, how to raise an issue, all about GitHub. There you can see a video of 1 hour, or you can get an idea what is GitHub and all, because GitHub is the most important thing when you are starting with open source. It is like a door that you need to enter. From that door, when you got entered in the door, the next side is open source basically. So you have to learn GitHub and all. So in the September, you can learn what is GitHub and all. That is very important. Pull requests that are merged can be made in any GitHub or GitLab hosted project. So yeah, the projects can be hosted on GitHub or GitLab, but most of the projects are hosted on GitHub. Very few projects are hosted on GitLab. So I would say initially you should learn about what is GitHub because it is very important. And yep, so that is what aim to submit 4 high quality pull requests that got merged between October 1 and October 31. So basically, it is the eligibility criteria. So you will unlock a digital badge when you register for Hacktoberfest and level it up with each of your 4 pull requests accepted during Hacktoberfest. So it is like you are getting badges that you can show on GitHub when you participated in Hacktoberfest. But there is a criteria that you have to register. You have to merge at least 4 pull requests to get those badges. And the more pull requests you will merge, the more badges you will get And guys, those badges are really flashy. They will really enhance your GitHub profile. And these are some resources for beginners. Introduction to open source. So as I told you earlier, that September is also called as Preptember. So if you want some official documents and resources, you can go to these links where you can learn about what is Git, what is open source, how to contribute to open source, introduction to GitHub and open source project. So as you can see, the first link is introduction to GitHub and open source projects. And as I told you earlier as well, that GitHub played a key role in open source and all. So that is where it is mentioned as well. Start contributing. In the Hacktoberfest, you can see a lot of projects that participate. In those projects, you can basically contribute. And I think there was also a eligibility criteria that uh, you should only contribute to those projects that has a tag of Hacktoberfest. So see for that as well. Let's wait for 23 of September, and you will be able to see all those projects in that as well. And if you want to start contribute before 23 September, you can go to these projects, participate in Hacktoberfest projects. So there are the links of the project that are participating in Hacktoberfest. You can go through the projects, go to their wiki pages, read their documentation, local install the project, then you will be able to start contributing. So basically, after learning GitHub and all, the next hurdle that usually comes is local installation of the project. That how you will be able to install that project in your local machine, because that project is hosted on GitHub. So it is important, if you are changing any code, if you're changing anything in the code base, you will not be able to change it directly. You have to, it is like you have to copy that project in your local machine. Project is now in your local machine. You will, it is like live now. When you will change anything in your code base, you will be able to see right at the screen. It is like local server. So that is where it is very important to local install the project. When it comes to local installation of the project, there are a lot of uh, videos you can see, but that is very specific. That is not, that are generalized, that is not very specific. And basically, for each project there are wiki sections or documentation section where it is clearly mentioned how to install the project, and you can just go through the those documentation step by step. That documentation are really step by step process where you can see how to basically local install the project. And if the documentation is not there, you can join the communities, that project specific community. There are a lot of project, there are a lot of project specific community as well. For example, if you want to contribute to VLC, then there will be a community of VLC either on Slack or Discord. You can join the community, ask the members, I'm not able to local install the project, or this is the hurdle that is coming. They will really help you out. So it is all about it. Pull merge request. So these are some that you need to get in mind before merging or before raising any pull request. Out of bounds, your PR must be within the bounds of Hacktoberfest. That is obvious. The PRs that you are raising or you're merging should be between October 1st and October 31st. And repos that go against the Hacktoberfest values will be excluded. As I told you earlier, that you should only participate, you should only contribute on those repos that has the Hacktoberfest tag. And your PR must be in repo tagged, that I have already told you. Your PR must not be labeled as invalid. That is called as spam as well. You should, you're not changing something that can break the code. So that is called as invalid as well. Code fat gaya. So your PR should be valid. You're changing something that is valuable, right? And your PR must be merged, have the Hacktoberfest accepted label, or have an overall approving review. So basically, when you raise a pull request, after raising the pull request, there are code owners or admins who will review your code, and they will approve your code. They will give feedback on your code. So after all the approval, your PR will be accepted or merged. And those code owners or admins will tag their PR as Hacktoberfest accepted. And if by mistake it is omitted, uh, they omitted to tag that PR as Hacktoberfest accepted, you can ping them that this PR got merged between October 1st and October 31st. Once your PR pass all the checks above, it will be accepted Hacktoberfest for Oktoberfest after the 7 days review period. So these are measures to reduce spam. And as I told you earlier, that there are a lot of the controversies going on about people are just changing spaces and commas in readme.md file. That is also called as spamming and all. So you should adhere the guidelines. You should adhere the coding practices that is inside the project. So if I talk about the documentation, there are a lot of rules and regulations that are mentioned in the project wiki or documentation as well, that what you should follow, what you should not follow. So before doing anything, you should read that documentation as well. Spammy PR requests will be labeled as spam. PR requests must be approved by a maintainer. Bad repositories will be excluded. Avoid submitting low quality pull requests, that I have already told you. I think I have already told you the top level things that you should get in mind before participating in open source. So the first thing was key, you should know about GitHub, open source, that I have already told you in the video as well, what is open source. But you should learn what is GitHub, how it works, how to raise pull requests, how to raise issue, and all those sort of stuff. Then you can register in that Hacktoberfest after September 23. So basically, after registering in Hacktoberfest after September 23, you will be having some time. After October 1st only, you will be able to raise pull requests and all, start contributing. But after September 23, you should start debugging the projects that you want to work, because there are a lot of projects that comes inside Hacktoberfest that basically uh, participate in Hacktoberfest. So you cannot participate, you cannot contribute to each and every project, because that depends on your tech step, that depend on your expertise, that depend on what project you want to contribute. Like, so that is the another part, that is another hurdle to find the perfect project on which you want to work, right? So after September 23, when you got to know about what is GitHub, what is open source, your next step should be finding a good project that you want to work, that is coming inside the Hacktoberfest label, that is active as well. Join the communities. When I first started, I had no idea what open source was at that time. I was also like you, scrolling through videos, reading blogs about open source, trying to figure out how I could contribute without breaking anything. That is very important. But through programs like Google Summer of Code and Linux Foundation Mentorship Program, and also other different open source programs, I realized that open source is all about learning. You make mistake, but that is the part of the process, because it is human psychology. You learn by doing mistakes, and that is very important. Hacktoberfest is a perfect starting point to get your hands dirty without the pressure of being a pro. And trust me, there is no better feeling than seeing your pull request accepted and then waiting for that awesome Hacktoberfest t-shirt to arrive at your doorstep, hopefully. And not only t-shirt, but the experience you will have, the network you will make, and more importantly, you have started with open source. So why should you, a newbie, join Hacktoberfest right now? Because this is your opportunity to start contributing to open source projects, real world projects, connect with amazing developers from the globe and learn from them, learn coding by doing, and contribute to the world. But here's the catch, why you should start right now. Because Hacktoberfest, as the name suggests, only happens once a year in October. So you have got a limited time to make your move. Will you take the leap and become an open source contributor? You are just one pull request away to become an open source contributor. The clock is ticking. Don't wait till the last moment. Get started now. So there you have it. Hacktoberfest is the easiest way of starting in open source, no matter whether you are a newbie or what is your skill level, whether you are fixing bugs, fixing typos, solving small bugs, or even adding features. Your contributions matter and it counts. And who knows, maybe next year you will be one of those experienced developers mentoring others. So go ahead, sign up, and make those pull requests and get those free swag. And do not forget to subscribe First Sem Coder for more content on how you can contribute to open source and level up your coding game. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.